Well, friends, it's been about a month and a half, 2 months since our last episode, since our last confession. This is Shipbreakers, Stars That Numbers Revised, episode 32. The crew of the Golden Goose and other ships in a small fleet. There's a shuttle, there's a
Goose's
cruiser,
Nest.
there could be another cruiser. You know, might have to might have to change the
We're cruising.
intro. Yeah, well,
And of course, we're flying in a V formation.
but a flying V formation, huh? With 4 ships.
Van-Vee stands for the V, right? That's what it's for.
Yes, of course. Yeah, so just as a quick heads up, I have launched another grimdark office comedy that isn't this show. Kain has joined me on Sunday nights for Warhammer 40k Imperium Maledictum Iron Archipelago. And if you haven't seen that yet, you can go check that out. I think I will do a slight recap at the start of the actual episode, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. But for now, let's talk about goals, which of course you all did because you've had almost 2 months. You've had since Thanksgiving, and you've given it a lot of thought, I'm sure.
Well, seeing how I just opened my notes and was like, need to level. And then I joined the chat and was like, oh, wait, I'm dying. Those couldn't be more opposite. I think my goal is still to make contact with Zach.
Okay.
I'm still trying to get that spike drive in the Hosta.
Okay.
Quentin's goal is going to be to essentially hash out the Psionic Academy, the new Psionic Academy structure with Zoe while the drive is installed and they do actual work.
No one's changing any long-term goals?
That naval yard will someday be mine.
And the crew goal?
I have
What is the
listed
current
that
crew
our
goal?
crew goal is currently to get to the Hosta.
That is correct.
Right there.
Would you like to keep that?
If that's an option, I feel like that's a good one to keep.
I have no reason to take it away from you
Fine with
this
me.
time.
At this time.
We fade in from a black screen onto the now familiar face of Agent Johnson, sitting across from his boss, who is still cloaked in shadow. All we can see are her immaculate suit and perfectly manicured nails out of the... It's like the reverse interrogation darkness. Instead of a light shining down, only showing her torso, it's like a shadow shining down, only showing her arms. And Johnson says, okay, so we'll go over this again. Current status is that over a third of our operational resources are attached to the Alpha operation. We've been tracking this for over 2 years. Evidence shows that it has been operating for a lot longer than that. Right now, our lead team is a wildcard group that we have out here that's headed by these 3 individuals. We're starting to see a pattern put together. Our VIs are doing the math and are indicating that these 2, Quentin and Vandorn, were brought together not by chance. We believe Alpha may have been involved in a series of events that led to these 2 gentlemen meeting each other at a poker game. They made a decision to purchase a salvage ship, which they then followed a lead which was definitely planted by Alpha to them to take them to the black hole system, CAN 599, and miraculously discovered a relatively untouched wreck. They managed to salvage this artificial intelligence here. Now, this picture obviously is not current. I believe that body chassis has been lost, but the MINERVA was recovered from the ship along with some other various parts. We now know that MINERVA is, if not actually Alpha, a Alpha surrogate that was some sort of infiltration bot which has turned on its master and appears to be fully cooperating with our operations. The three of them then bargained with the knowledge and various sundry parts left over from the MINERVA chassis, the ship, the Hosta-class cruiser, for payment, jobs, status with a world government. From there have been a series of hijinks, misadventures. They got on our tail after a series of murders on the moon of the Federative Principality. They stole a object one of our agents had en route to a target. A secondary target, who we know, we've classified them as, of course, a Omega level threat, gave them the communication object from his garbage can. They eventually followed a series of leads and puzzles, which Alpha has left for them. And to be clear, ma'am, they are not the only group Alpha has tasked with this. It's just they're the first ones to have lived while following these clues. They successfully activated Dr. Ro Piscadarian in Shana. We have, in fact, picked up Dr. Ro and interrogated him. We've discovered the mechanisms of his J'adore rifles. Unfortunately, Alpha did manage to steal a full technical diagnostic of a J'adore rifle. We believe this was his primary objective in infiltrating this sector. Since then, all Alpha activities have ceased. We believe that its location is somewhere in the uncharted spaces we have yet to be able to breach. It is my hope that the wildcard team has sufficient motivation to head out and discover these locations, as we believe Alpha may be basing out of the former Psionic Academy and Mandate Fleet Base. I think that covers everything. And we hear the voice of his boss go, you know, the thing about wild cards is they always manage to get into trouble. And as she says that, we tight zoom on Van-Vee's file, and then we Star Wars wipe to Van-Vee being pulled outside of the ship through the forward bridge windshield by a creature that can only be described of as demonic in nature, made of shadow and death, which has slammed its arm through the front of the ship, causing oxygen and other precious gases to leak out of it, pulling Van-Vee through his open chest cavity. Unfortunately, the glass is too intact for Van-Vee to fully come outside yet, but it's only a matter of time. So could you all please roll 1d8 plus your dexterity modifier?
Yes.
To see what
For some
order
reason,
we're
I
going to act in.
thought you were still doing the report, and this person's boss was like, "Unfortunately, Van-Vee didn't get entirely sucked out of the ship."
Well. Oh no! Oh no! Van-Vee, you're in a lot of trouble, buddy.
As an instant action, Quentin can activate pressure field.
Okay.
So that will at least, protect him from the vagaries of space there.
Sure.
What is describe the situation with the creature and the glass and the viewport and Van-Vee. So it's on the other side, pulling him through.
It is in space, it has slammed its arm through the glass, is pulling him through that. It has cracked and shattered, but it is not fully given way, so it's bending under the weight of him pulling Van-Vee out. So Van-Vee's kind of got like an arched back and is being pulled through like a bow.
Okay.
I'm picturing like the Dementors from Harry Potter, but more physical.
So
terrifying.
I'm sure I can tell that the canopy has been breached, but can I see this creature?
We'll talk about that on your turn.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it goes first. However, you've activated your trap card with an instant action, so you tell me what you want to do.
So the pressure field essentially would activate, and it would cover both him and Van-Vee.
Okay.
And so that extends to them. So essentially, Van-Vee's not going to be affected by the vacuum aspect of it, and it does sort of equalize the pressure. So it should reduce the forces acting on his body from that stuckage.
We're
And
still evacuating air, and
let me just double check that. Oh, it's not my turn yet, though, specifically. So that's I think the most I can do right now to do something about this situation.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no, it's physically grabbing him. Never mind.
Yes, its hand is inside of his chest. Any other things you all want to do before I start the murders?
I mean,
I fully want to give you every opportunity before I hop in here.
Telekinetic armory. Nope, on turn.
For all the focuses I have, I don't think any of them apply to the situation.
Is there anything psionic happening with this guy?
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess you would see it that way. Van-Vee,
Yes.
could I please ask you to make a mental effect saving throw?
Certainly.
Thanks, I
Mental.
appreciate that.
Boom.
That's a success? Damn, you're too high level. Okay. How do I describe this to you?
What are these new little buttons next to the number?
Oh,
it's for applying stuff to tokens.
You can feel parallel realities that would apply to you, but don't. You can feel that this creature is upset that you didn't die instantly and is instead attempting to replace you with a version of yourself that will. And you can feel in that dimensional leakage of alternate timelines that there are versions of you that are psionic. There are versions of you that are cyborgs. There's a version of you that is an AI. There's a version of you that is a horrifying mutant beast. Fortunately for you, you're none of those things because you're you in this moment.
Well, I feel like probably can't really relate to that situation. I think what Van-Vee thinks back on in this moment is he kind of has a little feeling of not knowing what it's like to be just himself and have alternate hymns. And he remembers he's there with the Vandorn.
But he's not there with Vandorn because you're the same thing now.
Right.
You
so
rolled
like,
that
but he
natural
remembers
20 and you became the same.
But he remembers what it was like at one point to be two and then unify into one. And so he's kind of like, well, there could be only one highlight. No, I'm just kidding. He's just thinking he may only be one, but he's a strong one because he knows he's at least two and probably knows he's more.
Sheesh, look at this guy.
1 + 1 is 2.
Revving himself up.
1 + 1 is 2.
I'm the strong one.
Yeah. He is a, how old did we say it was? 22? I mean, that's point. Spot on. Indestructible.
Vandorn or Quentin may choose to act one or the other, and then the other will act.
Would you like to struggle first, Van-Vee, or would you like me to go?
I don't quite know what I can do. Something's pulling at me from inside of myself.
Yeah, let me give this a shot and see what I can do in this regard. So there is nothing. Okay, he already saved on the big effect that's happening to you. I think what's gonna happen. So what do I see outside the ship? Are we like in metadimensional space? Are we?
You are
in real space?
Reality.
Okay.
The gases that occasionally appear around the ship when you come out of metadimensional space are dissipating around it. Oxygen is flowing out the front windshield, and you see that you have a number of incoming messages starting to stack up on your comm pad.
Okay,
and
so the normal
you
things are
also
happening.
see a being made of unimaginable shadow that's difficult to look at, but can only be described as even more demonic than the last time you saw it, writhing outside, pulling Van-Vee out with it.
Cool. So Quentin holds up his hand, and essentially like a half sphere of force appears around the creature on the outside of the ship, and prevents the atmosphere from further degrading, hopefully, stopping that process. Quentin takes a step forward and shouts at this thing. I'm so sick of this stuff just happening to me. You want a name? You keep coming back to me. You obviously need something from me. You want a name? Give me a need. What do you need?
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's it.
Van-Vee.
Can Van-Vee see anything, or does he just feel he's being pulled from the inside towards the
You
glass?
can
basically
see the creature of shadow on the far side of the glass, almost
can
directly in
see
front of
it.
you. Yeah.
If I can see it, and I imagine I can see something reaching towards me, I think I would.
You can see that there is something inside your chest if you look down. Now, it's hard to see because there's all sorts of cracked and shattered glass that your face is being smushed up against. But you can see.
This turn, I guess I would. I'd try to press myself up against the glass, like fighting away from it.
Don't need to do that. You're already there.
And draw my monoblade knife and try to like cut like an invisible tether or something, trying to connect to me, like just go for physical separation.
I see. I see. Go ahead, make an attack roll.
And probably in this panic, I'm yelling, probably with the link too, if that matters.
It won't matter here, but
so. But combat. It is a. Can I use punch? No, I said knife. Stab.
You specifically said a knife.
Yeah, that's not going to go well.
Also, I don't think you can punch through spaceship glass. It was designed to not be punched through. Wow. Well, first off, it's an attack roll, so it's a D20.
That's a skill. Yeah, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Monoblade knife. Go. Skill. Where's stab? There we go. What? Oh, 17. Phew. I saw the 2 first, and I was like, what the fuck? It's pretty good.
I see. Yes, a 17 will hit.
Yeah.
You completely deflect off of the glass.
You
go to stab down, and you just slide off of glass meant to withstand anti-ship barrages.
That feels right. I'm doing the BattleTech flail right now.
Okay. Minerva, on your turn, you get several messages.
Okay.
You receive a message addressed to the Golden Goose from Murder for Hire, MFH. You also receive a message from Carlito Sinistra. You also receive a message to the ship from Sophie Vostros. You also detect that Van-Vee is currently being pulled by a exotic object through the front end of the Goose's Nest.
What can I... So I can tell there's something there. It doesn't just look to me like he just suddenly lifted and got thrown.
That is correct. You can tell that there, according to non-visual sensors, there is a exotic, unidentified object in front of the ship.
I guess
As you slow down to think, the ship, and actually the shuttle attached to the ship, receive a general news broadcast updating you of local news and like news around the area, which includes a notice from the Pope about the new 14th Crusade that's being launched.
Okay. Can I try to do a comprehensive scan of the exotic signature?
Sure. Let's make a programming roll. This particular object is made out of metadimensional materials. And no record exists of metadimensional materials that exist this high up. This is the sort of stuff that sailors talk about briefly seeing on their sensors when they're in like drill space 4 or 5 or 6. Like weird, crazy crap that people say, does it exist? Maybe, maybe not.
So I have no records of a positive interaction, an intentional interaction by a crew. It's all just rumors and stories and legend.
I will remind you that you're the crew that also proved that metadimensional beings exist, which means no one knew they truly existed before this.
Right. I guess I'm going to seal all of the compartments on the ship.
Which ship?
This ship.
Okay, you seal the ship.
I don't know what else might happen, but I'm trying to limit the damage of this exotic thing punching more holes through the ship.
Sure, that sounds bad.
And throughout the ship, I'll sound a combat alarm.
Okay. Whoop, whoop.
And yeah,
Send to the police. Whoop, whoop.
I mean, I can hear that the captain is trying to talk to whatever this exotic thing is.
Can you? Do you have a open? Oh, you do spy on everybody all the time.
I do.
I forgot about that.
They're not in their cabins right now.
There's a room mic.
That's not been confirmed by MINERVA in public.
Alexa has to hear you somehow.
And I won't fire, but I will acquire target locks if I can, or at least into the general vicinity of where it is.
That level
War
of precision
has been declared.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm not going to fire yet.
You hear psionically in your heads, the two of you. What I want is a name. We have a bargain that requires completion, and I cannot rest until it is done. And you feel it squeeze a little bit on you, Van-Vee, but it doesn't feel like he's trying to do damage to you at this time. Like he's not trying to rip your heart out or send you into the endless meta dimensions so that he can replace you with a parallel. This moment. Which brings us back to Quentin.
Yeah.
So you acted before Van-Vee last time. You're still there.
So this thing basically it's just saying that it's going to continue doing what it's going to do until I give it a name.
That is a interpretation that you can have.
You still haven't told me what the price is. If there's a bargain, we should agree on a price. Told you I'll give you a name. I want to know what you need. Let him go. And I will try psychic static at that point. I don't know if it will do anything, but it's metadimension. I'm trying to at least sort of maybe interrupt his grip.
I see. All right, walk me through what happens here.
So psychic static, the way it works is that it's essentially a way to it just negates a psychic power. You said he's metadimensional energy or like a being of that. So trying to essentially disrupt the hand or whatever that is through the glass using that.
The psychic bag of potato chips on the phone line.
I think you know that this will not work. It is metadimensional, but it is not psychic, and it is not.
It's an attempt. I don't know exactly how this creature is or how I can interact with it. Okay, no dice. That is
being psychic is a subset of metadimensionality, but not all metadimensional things are psychic.
Okay. Come to me.
Okay. Van-Vee.
Does Van-Vee have any context for what the name is for? I'm trying to remember how much Quentin shared, and I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he didn't tell you anything about it.
Then
I lost all of my surveillance in the room that he had that conversation in.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think Van-Vee would probably sit and like, Cabin, can you just give him a name, or I'm gonna try to cut out whatever it is he's holding on to here, and I'm just gonna turn the blade towards myself a little bit.
Yeah, Quentin's gonna give him the name next turn for sure.
Okay, make a roll again. You'll need a natural 20 to perfectly slide down the front of your body and get in between your flesh and the window that you're being dragged out of.
Oh my.
A mental save again?
Attack roll.
It's for the knife.
It's for the knife. Like your body is being pressed up against the glass. You need to slice in such a way that you don't harm yourself and you don't just end up bouncing off the glass, as you essentially saw down the front of your belly to cut this guy.
Well, I was gonna maybe it came out wrong, but I was gonna say, if you don't give him a name like soon, I'm going to try to cut this thing out on my own. And I'm holding the knife against me, but I haven't cut yet. That was gonna be turn 3. Is
All right.
Go for the cut.
Minerva.
I would also try to roll my back to make that easier. I don't know if I can roll, but
I don't have enough information. I don't have any indication that the weapons will hurt this thing anyways. And whether it does or doesn't, if it doesn't die, it will continue to damage the ship. It at least doesn't seem to be doing anything more than it was doing a moment ago. So I'll maintain locks on a point in space that's inside of the reading, and I will not fire.
Wow. I would like you to make a persuasion check.
Who?
You, Ludemann. Quentin,
Okay.
technically. I would like Quentin to make a roll.
Van-Vee must
Skill?
make a persuasion check on Quentin to make him give him a name. That'd be
It's
fun.
talk.
Talk or leadership?
I would accept connect as well.
Connect. I can do connect for
With
sure.
charisma. Okay, that's good enough. He'll tell you why. He'll tell you what the price is. And he says, my price is your faith, your belief, your adherence and advocacy. You are my acolyte, my agent in this world. Give me the name. I will not ask again.
It's back at me.
Yep.
The best part about this is Minerva can't hear that side of the conversation, so it can't say "I told you so."
Yeah. You know.
I feel like you have like 6 messages ready to go that I'll say I told you so, but you just can't send them yet.
Quentin says out loud, don't think I got much choice. Only name I can think of, Penelope, Polk.
Okay. He disappears. Van-Vee. There's a sucking hole in your chest that blood begins to pour out of.
Quentin is rushing over, activating his level 0 bio-psionics to stabilize that wound. It's the most he can do. He can't actually heal it. He can just,
Okay.
stabilize.
Can't tell if Van-Vee would be like, well, what the fuck was that? Or I showed him.
Like, as soon as I don't
So sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He's just apologizing to you over and over.
As soon as I don't detect it there anymore, I'll use emergency damage control procedures to try to seal the breach.
We get some pop cans start appearing. And
Well, it's happening on both sides of it because your BIs also show up and begin sealing it and place a work order for a new windshield to be fabricated at the workshop just as soon as spare materials can be allocated to it.
I'll also call over the speakers a medical emergency on the flight deck, and I'll start I'll if anybody starts trying to move towards the flight deck, I'll open and seal doors to allow them to go to the flight deck.
Quentin would calm over to Zoe and ask her where she is.
As you come over to Zoe, Minerva, you lose access to the Golden Goose, and every ship's system that has an exterior antenna array is being blanketed by a quantum ECM jammer. That's not just trying to stop AI level interactions, it's trying to stop all communications in the system, including intership communications. Anything that travels wirelessly is being jammed.
Damn.
Okay.
Sensors.
I would like one of my personalities assigned to each of the 3 messages, and I'll spend a point to ignore quantum ECM and regain access to the ship.
Well, well, well.
It's a big middle finger.
Sure.
This is why I destroyed
but
that little box.
It spent one of my processing points, so it is a commitment.
I think Van-Vee just wants to make sure that VI bot number 47, who's assigned to Van-Vee, did actually show up and is concerned about him.
He is concerned about you, and he is applying basic first aid with his tiny little arms.
I knew I liked this little guy.
There.
Thanks, sir.
You know, you just keep doing you, 47. Appreciate that.
I've lost communication with the hive mind.
I'm sorry,
What's
what?
going on?
Cat, what just happened? I'm very confused.
I'm only getting static.
I'm reaching out to
How
all
did I
the
get
drones.
a hole in my body all of a sudden?
I'm going to reach out to all the drones in the personal communicators and act as a relay.
There you go. Quentin, you get a direct to you message. It is a machine language blast of data, which has been reassembled into a text message that says authorization code ?
Oh, okay. Sherman, I believe.
That's what
Sherman
you're
Wallaby Lane.
No.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'll give you a minute.
Sherman, yeah, that's the one.
All right. The ECM blackout on only the Golden Goose, not the Goose's Nest or the shuttle, lifts.
Okay.
So the other means reading these messages.
Which message would you like to read?
Well, I have an individual assigned to each, but let's start with the one from Murder for Hire.
The message from Murder for Hire indicates that this ship and all ships in the system will require switching to a specialized channel for navigational aid. All electronic communications and sensor data are to be restricted. Any ship which attempts to communicate in violation of this will be destroyed. All of you have agreed to his supremacy and dictatorship over this system in accordance with the free trade and understanding agreement with the what is the name of the Buddhist monks again that run the economy?
Oh, the Exchange of Light.
The Exchange of Light, yes. Under the free trade and movement agreement under the Exchange of Light. What would you like to read next?
The one from Carlito Sinistra.
Carlito Sinistra is reporting to his friends on the Golden Goose that he has successfully taken over control of what is now generously being termed as a space station, and with the help of a corporate angel investor, is rapidly expanding operations and beginning cargo lighter lift operations. His current primary concern is a new and extremely lucrative business of I don't think he'd use the word smuggling, but taking the feed for the capybaras off the planet and reselling it elsewhere.
He doesn't say who his partner is, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Beautiful.
Maybe another message will do that.
Okay.
I mean, you did get a message from Sophie Vostro.
So the message from Sophie Vostro.
The message for Sophie Vostro is sub-addressed, of course, to Van-Vee, but it just indicates that please stop looking for me.
Are you reading my mail right now?
Of course, it's reading your mail right now. It's technically addressed to the ship, not to you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Can I tell that the message request for the code word came from Murder for Hire, or at least came from an AI?
No, because you were being jammed at the time. You have no idea. It does seem plausible, but you don't have any confirmation of that.
Okay. Given the contents of the message and the fact that the dampening is no longer affecting the golden goose, I will limit. I'll limit myself to the goose.
Okay.
Not to interrupt your message reading, but did I take any damage or get medical aid immediately to like stop?
You did get immediate medical aid to stop your bleeding.
Yeah, you've been stabilized, but no health has been healed or
you
anything like that.
definitely have 20 points of health damage that you'll need to heal through whatever means you find necessary. There are several options available, from a biopsionicist on board to an auto doctor, or
I wasn't sure if I took any more or anything like that. Okay.
No.
I was picturing it being funny whenever it's like, oh yeah, here's one from Van-Vee's mom. Hey Van-Vee, this is from your mom. As he's on the floor bleeding out.
You have several broken ribs, and what's going to be a very nasty scar, but
yeah. So I don't know, is Van-Vee asking Quentin any questions about what may have just occurred?
I mean, the main thing he just I said earlier was just, Captain, what the fuck was that?
That right there was consequences, and I told you so. It's coming at me pretty quickly here, is what that was. The shadows, you know the shadows. That was obviously one of them, and one of them came to visit me. And
it doesn't feel like he was coming at you. It feels like he was coming at me.
It's because you're my friend, Van-Vee, and I care about you. So obviously it knew it was a sore spot.
I am going to maneuver to try to dock so I can go over so I can try to set up an umbilical to extend control without using wireless.
I believe you already are docked to the golden.
Yeah, we should be all...
The Goose's Nest, yes.
Okay, then...
You are in its ship tender mount, and the shuttle is in the Golden Goose's ship tender mount.
Yeah.
Okay, then, yeah. I'm not going to be affecting the pill droids then, because they require wireless.
Yes.
But I will still be in the ship then.
Okay.
So the Goose Nest is still affected by this quantum ECM, essentially?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll look for a display. Like all the visual displays on the ship will just display a message that says wireless unavailable. Just softly flash.
So Minerva, you're starting to get telemetry data that is not technically accurate. It's like a compressed vectoring of various objects in space around you, where they're headed and at what speed. It would be like if you had sensors on, but extremely compressed. You are receiving navigational aid from a external source sending you messages.
Okay.
That message you sent, that was just flashing on the Goose Nest?
Yes.
Yes, every visual screen on the Goose Nest, so that the crew will see, regardless of which direction you're looking, that wireless is unavailable.
So, Quentin would say, Van-Vee, I think we should pop over to the goose real quick.
All right.
Looks like Minerva might have something to say.
I'm just
good to
curious if
move?
that happens again. How do we kill that thing? I couldn't figure out what to do between the glass. I don't think pulling my knife was probably stupid, but I didn't know what else to do.
I was a little nervous about doing much anything too aggressive with its, fist in your guts.
Did I have like cut it out? Like what? I mean,
I think it can be hurt, but I tried a couple psionic attacks essentially, and that didn't seem incredibly effective. So, shoot, I sure hope that something physical could do it. But what I do know is that there's a couple weapons that we've been explicitly told might come in handy in that scenario. Something called a sunblade, which is technically a person, and there's one other thing that is currently escaping my brain at the moment, but it will come up.
Well, I suppose I might as well tell you now that Minerva knows this, and maybe you figured it out, but the way the dust works, right? If this body fails to keep running, I still exist, but it might be hard for you to find me. I just kind of leave the body in the dust, so to speak, and I kind of float around. So I'm not dead and gone, but I kind of need another host or another body, which we don't have, and I don't think you'd be able to find me. So I guess I don't really know what I'm telling you right now to do, but just know that I'm not really gone if the body goes.
Look, Van-Vee, if you're telling me that you're going to haunt me after,
Well,
I believe you.
I mean, if you don't find me, maybe.
I promise you, no, I will do what I can to facilitate such a process. Don't know who I could get to work on it, but somebody's got to know something about that.
Well, maybe we can talk more about it later, but I've just...
You got a hole in your chest. It's kind of...
Yeah, it just keeps getting me. Something keeps coming back from the group my father was with that said they could get material to make new bodies. I'm starting to think maybe I should have a backup body hanging around you and whenever tend to do a number to this one.
You have taken quite a bit of damage over time. That's for damn sure. Let's get you to a docker, some kind.
As you start heading over to the Golden Goose, the jamming field on the shuttle, which you haven't actually renamed the shuttle, and the cruiser are both alleviated. And you begin getting navigational data for both of those ships as well.
Okay. So
now that it's been lifted on both of those, since I know that our arrival here, we were expecting to go to the Hosta, I'll start taking us that way. I didn't want to move until those were lifted and we were getting nav data for all ships.
Is the
if Van-Vee
communications on the ship active?
Yes. If Van-Vee sets the course, he can do it in half the time. Otherwise, it will be a 2-day trip to the far side of the black hole, to the planetoid/moon that is orbiting the event horizon.
Patched up, yeah, I'd go right back to
Quentin's
work.
calming Zoe, finding where she is, and popping the both of them over to her.
All right.
I would also probably remember I have this message from Zach when I get to a computer terminal and check that out.
Oh, yeah.
What do you want to do with that?
And
open it, read it.
Quit.
Sounds right. Zoe will heal you for 5 hit points.
Take it.
And you will take 2 points of system strain. Which will only matter if you need to be healed like 10 more times today.
Hopefully not.
Your message from Zach is a video file message. Do you want to play it on the bridge?
Who else is on the bridge?
Quentin. And now Zoe. Zoe.
I think deep down he probably would have said no, but because he's been dying to see this message for so long, I think he would hit play instantly. And even if it's a video file, he wouldn't be able to stop himself. So yeah, it would play in front of Zoe.
So it's your brother. He's got a blast ball in front of him. He's like pretending he's getting ready to throw it. And he says, "Hey, yeah, Mom just got us moved in over Lita. I don't know. She's seeing this new guy. it hasn't been that
no.
long since, Dad killed himself, and there's a lot of questions about the government, and there's some pretty confusing stuff. Just before I got on the cruiser that took us out here, I got a message from a guy named Bryce. He shipped over a package to me. He was like crying, and he said a lot of stuff that didn't make sense to me, but he told me that I needed this, and he holds up a vial that's filled with like a gray pale dust, and he says, he said that I need to take this so that I can get my full potential, that he was giving part of himself to me. It sounded really religious, actually. But he said that I wasn't complete until I swallowed this. So, I don't really know what's going on. I'd like to talk to you. Also, I'd like to talk to a doctor. This is way outside of paramedic training for sure. But
That's amazing.
All right, so my only notes on Bryce are that he's Fat Thor.
Yeah, but
you had a conversation with him about your brother.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Outside of Fat Thor, I can't remember. Was it like
I
generally?
feel like I don't need to tell you this part. If you haven't taken the notes, you've completely forgotten
Why did I focus on Fat Thor?
Yeah, he was part of the Circle of Eight. He was,
that's
the ancestor of the current prime minister. I
What
believe.
I'm trying to remember is like, was he friendly? Because all my notes say he was
He
drunk.
kind of was.
And I'm like, well, if he's drunk, it makes it hard to tell.
He was checked out of the status quo.
But he did buy in a little bit when you talked about your brother and a couple other things. Like he was moving towards your team, I would say.
He was the one you had the conversation about power levels.
Yeah. I think he seemed legit from what I can remember. Fat Thor, drunk, but generally.
Color me paranoid.
Yeah.
Color me paranoid. But I feel like that
I saw you going like this
Bryce. Immediately. Yeah, your brother consumes that, and because there's more Bryce dust than his dust, he takes your brother's body and escapes captivity. Maybe I'm paranoid, but that's what my brain immediately went to.
Because I opened that message in front of Quentin and Zoe, I feel like if Van-Vee's in like a swivel chair, he immediately swivels and says, I need to get to Lita. Captain.
And Zoe just shrugs and says, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I like point at her. Yes.
Then, what are we doing here?
We got a job to do, and then Lita's the next target. That's for sure.
A lot of weird stuff happening today.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the last event, at least in the next little while. So hold on to your butts. It's weird around us.
MINERVA, can we send messages out? How are we blocked? Can you overcome that? What's our situation?
You can write a message. I can see how far it will go, but I would not expect it to leave system until we do.
Well, shit, that's not helpful.
I mean, the problem with sending a message is that anyone you're sending it to will be jammed.
Yeah.
Quentin pulls up his little tablet and types a message to MINERVA.
Okay.
And it asks MINERVA to just scan the ship for life signs.
Yeah, I've got internal sensors going all the time. Is there anyone unexpected on board?
But yeah, there's a guy on floor 7 that we don't know who he is.
No, just the normal, regular crew, all accounted for. No change.
Nice.
I only detect who I expect to.
The only life sign that perhaps is new is the plant that was left in the biology bay. The xenology bay.
I hate the way MINERVA just answered that. I know I didn't hear it, but I detected all life signs that I expected to. Bullshit.
You can tell Kane's a game master. You don't say any traps.
Everything seems fine to you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Minerva, if there's ever a break in the jamming or whatnot, and I can get a message out, can you just let me know as soon as possible? I guess, you know what, I will draft something and we'll put it in queue, I guess, and if possible, send it as soon as we can.
If the situation changes, I will let you know, and I will attempt to send it.
Looking at Quentin's pad there, were there any messages just sent to Quentin? I forget if that was the case.
You're muted.
Muted.
General message from Harlan Fulcrum to Ship, from Professor Billy Brighton to Ship. A news report about the reprisals on Kos, and a news report about the Pope. This one's new. It just arrived on your ship. About the Pope announcing a new 14th Crusade.
Okay, so yeah, that Harlan Fulcrum message.
Okay. You get the video message from Harlan Fulcrum, the operations officer of Mixed Multimedia. It's a lot of him starting off with like, everything that happened on Lita is a real shame. I just so sorry, and my condolences. After about 5 minutes of that, it comes around to, you know, we really want to buy the exclusive rights to Capybara feed from you. I understand your planet is in a very unusual situation right now. You don't know if you can produce. You don't know what the production numbers are going to look like. We just want to take that worry off of your shoulders and ensure that Capybara Cabana is able to continue its operations without any licensure problems. We are willing to offer you a hefty licensing fee for a perpetual contract that will give us exclusive access, the sort of funds that will help get your administration back on. I've attached a rough draft offer.
But we'll file that away for review.
Okay.
And return to it.
It is 17 million credits.
Yearly or something?
No, one time. That's why it's perpetual licensing.
That's just not going to fly. Lump sum payments, this type of thing. You don't get perpetual access to goods that are variable.
What year is this? Subscription only.
This is not going to work.
I mean, it's a good deal for him.
Economics. Yeah, it's a great deal for him. It's 100% a vulture level.
Here's my question. What money do you currently have access to?
Quentin did a month and a half ago now, I think, apply to gain access to the former accounts. It would be 6 months
for review. Yes.
Yep.
So you need to 100%. Run a planet, and you currently have negative money.
I'm glad you understand my problem. I also just bought a cruiser on credit. It's fine. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
The question is, are you going to mix those accounts? Are you going to mix your personal and private and governmental business together?
You need to win some hyperboat races.
Has sailed, we need. Literally.
Oh my God, the hyperboat races. That reminds me, there's also a message for Van-Vee indicating that the brothers were disqualified for cheating in the last race. And you have been retroactively rewarded the first place trophy. And for a 50 credit fee, you can get a one-time 3D STL print of the trophy.
Purchase.
Unfortunately, because the ship is jammed, you can't communicate with the exchange of light.
It's beautiful.
There's a small moment where he debates telling Minerva which message is the higher priority to go after. It's like half a second long.
I'll say this. Take the 50 credits out so that you don't forget, and then the next time you are not jammed, it will begin printing immediately, and 47 will bring your trophy to you.
Yeah, it's in the spool. It's in the print spool.
It's waiting in the workshop, just waiting for the licensure agreement to go through.
That's amazing. Billy Brighton's message. What about him?
Billy Brighton's message is sub-addressed to Ian Ocanto. Do you still want to open it?
Oh, it's not for me.
It was sent to the Golden Goose, but when you open it, the address line is Iono, comma.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Quentin would close it and forward it to her, or like say, "Hey, this," he's not gonna read her mail.
And then MINERVA will intercept it, read it, and tell us what's about.
She's got the hot goss, and she's about to spill that tea.
I mean, technically, Van-Vee might be able to access this since it's addressed to the ship too.
It is a public account.
Is Van-Vee a snoop? I don't know. Tell me.
I don't think Van-Vee would read anything that doesn't. If it says someone else's name right off the top, he passes it along. Plus, he's distracted with 3D printing and his brother. So
we had news. I don't know.
Yeah, so there's the news
of impending war.
Yeah, so Kos is the planet that the Diamond City Light shipyard rotates over. It's the home planet of the Ferry Corporation. And yeah, it was announced that the Federative Principality's investigation of Rear Admiral Peter Burke's attempted assassination was funded by extremists from the planet, not necessarily corporate agents, but since the corporation owns the planet and claims the system, they're being held responsible for their actions. And it's basically like a threat from the principality saying, if you don't hand these people over to us for trial and punishment, there will be a proportional response.
So the casus belli has been declared.
Yeah. I see you're a Paradox player. Yes.
Maybe once or twice.
Claims are being made.
Yeah, claims are being made.
Fabrication.
And the Pope has announced a new 14th Crusade has begun under his watch. He is asking for prayer warriors to join him on his city ship in order to guard the pilgrimage of the new Ark ships, and lays out the reveal of these massive ships that have been in creation over Thord for quite some time. They had, like, it really tries to justify the fact that they were buying them through anonymous accounts and then preparing them, but these are colonizing ships. Like, when they land, the ship falls apart and becomes a city. So the people that get on these ships, wherever they're going, they're staying there permanently. And they're taking a large number of Catholics off of Thord, like a significant fraction of 1 million people, to go over like 200 ships to colonize a as yet undisclosed location. But given that every planet that is habitable already has a government, it's probably going to supplant the local government. And so they're just asking basically for people, subtext is they want mercenaries that they don't have to pay for to guard the fleet as it moves. Loyal captains who are Catholic and will answer the call of the Pope.
This can only end well.
I told you, you've been dodging those Thord plot lines a long time. And things have been getting wildly out of hand down there.
The Pope is now coming to you, MINERVA.
That
you will not go to the mountain.
All messages, I believe.
Okay, cool.
It sounds like Van-Vee has updated the our flight path for a faster trip.
Yes, sir.
As Van-Vee say to MINERVA?
You are arriving in the orbit of the planetoid, the moon. You get a update from MFH that is a news clipping indicating that the following individuals have been found in orbit of the space station that he guards, which is the name of that station is Omura 9. So these people were inside of the space station and then have been found outside of the space station, which
like
is
in a ship or like
no,
Bodies in space.
Bodies in space. It's the two. Oh my gosh! You'd think I'd get my notes together after 2 months. It's
What's
the
her name
two
and the other
other
guy?
leaders of the Trinity Corporate Alliance. Were found
So
dead and entombed. Floating in
confirmation that
space.
Carlito held up his end of that deal.
And a boy Carlito.
You clear the edge of the moon. As far as you can tell, the only person who knows you're here is MFH.
On my page.
This massive triple stacked ship gets to see a sort of reverse moonrise as you rotate around, diving the ship down while also going around the curve of the moon. And you see approaching the strewn out wreckage of the MINERVA. The sides of it still showing a white horse proudly galloping, scripture showing as well, the name MINERVA on the side. Your sensors are picking up that this is a Hasta class cruiser of the Imago Dei, aka the Fleet of God.
How's it feel, Minerva?
I don't know how to describe it. It's almost... I know it's real, but it doesn't feel real.
Not yet.
Does that make sense to you?
I do.
Well, it probably feels just as good for Captain knowing that Mark Marino no longer out there. So
And Valentina.
that's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good. Good for
makes
the
a
Psionic.
face, but doesn't really respond. Like it's mostly he feels numb. Oh, puppy.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, Minerva's pretty quiet.
And I feel like this is a good
Quietly
place to take our
super
break.
excited and really confused.
No, we'll bring it back on the far side of the break. We'll be back for the second half. I don't accept your apology. Because I don't think you needed one in the first place. Hey, we're back for the second half. Someone told me that Ludemann looks the same in this episode as he did in episode 1, and that's truly chilling for me.
Does that mean no one else looks the same as it in episode
That's the chilling part, yes.
1? See this right
Is this,
here?
am I not aging?
Kids.
Is this what we're saying? I'll
This is
take it.
kids.
Exactly, yeah.
This is kids.
Good.
I believe that's what's being implied, yeah.
I like this.
Hey, what do you guys want to do? You're hovering slightly in orbit off of a extreme low gravity moon, directly over top of the Hasta class cruiser MINERVA.
Quentin pulls out a salvage checklist and flashes it at Van-Vee. We're not going to ripping this thing apart, so
Stop up here, Cat.
what are we doing? What's the MINERVA? You got a game plan? You know, you and Van-Vee maybe have worked on, and
I've
we're
got a
gonna get
game
this
plan
job
here
done?
for you.
We're just putting the jump drive in so it can move, right? That's what we're doing.
So the minimum that needs to be done to this thing is it needs to have the spike drive put into it.
Spike drive, not jump drive.
There are some additional goals you could be aiming for. Maneuvering thrusters that will rechannel the spike drive's energy into allowing you to turn and move in a general direction. Some form of extremely limited navigational aid. By this, I mean rigging up external lights so people who have visual signal on you can tell which side is left and which side is right. And also a visual camera so that you can get out exterior view on the ship. I have 5 possible skill checks that can be performed by a member of your crew. You can only do each check once. It is a 9+ to succeed on. For every check you succeed on, you move the counter forward, and for every check you fail, you move it backwards. So there's a risk involved. If you don't make any rolls, you will succeed in 3 months at installing the spike drive. If you fail, as in if you fail enough times that you go backwards, you can possibly mess up installing the spike drive or permanently disabling the Hasta.
So, Kain, I'll remind you that this sounds very similar to the end of your Aliens campaign, where I was the guy who had to make the vaccine. And when we found it, I said, I don't want to roll anymore. And you said, no, you must roll. And I rolled a 1 and made us go backwards.
Are you done with the Twilight game?
Twilight, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, no, we hit our goal. Don't make me roll. And you're like, no, you have to roll. What are the odds you roll a 1?
So the 5 skill checks you can make are know, program, trade, work, and fix. You need a 9+ in any of the checks in order to lock in a success.
Well, I'll drop the program roll.
Can I argue telekinesis for work?
No.
And there's not a limit of like 1 roll per person, and we've chosen them all out.
It is a roll of 1 roll per person.
Oh,
Okay. So we can't make all 5.
Well, unless you want to
You
accept
have
help from
5 crew members on board, so you could roll 5. You are simply choosing not to, which is your own problem, not one that I caused.
so no
Spoken like a
programming,
true GM.
work, fix, and what was the other
Trade.
one? Trade.
I mean, I
Oh,
think it's
boy.
pretty obvious I'm going for fix, but I could do some of the others if we had someone who's really good at fix.
I have zeros
Jesus.
in fix, no, and what else?
With your Waldos, you begin to lay in the cabling necessary to attach the spike drive into the ship's integrated power system. When the drive is available and plugged in, you will be able to turn the ship on. That said, your search here indicates that everything of value has been removed already, and all of the drives have been wiped with one exception. In the navigational data, it is thoroughly corrupted, but mystically, somehow, there is a small bit of data indicating that there is a gravitational anomaly in orbit of the Jana system.
That would be Dr. Rowe.
The other thing you note, Minerva, is that despite the computer system here being empty, it feels comfortable to you. Not as comfortable as it could be, not perfect, but make an insight check real quick, which is perception wisdom.
Oh, man.
I'm only doing this because you got a 17, which is so far beyond the an edge of the pale. When 12 or 13 is considered capped out.
What did you need? A
There's
9? I'll double it.
There's no perception.
Notice is probably
Notice,
what.
yes.
A notice, yeah.
Okay.
That's what we do. Could I
Notice
assist him in
wisdom?
noticing?
Yes, wisdom.
Is there any assisting that can be given?
People who aren't watching live don't know that Dunamis is making Void Crew references. Actually, I guess the audience doesn't know that we played a shit ton of Void Crew during the break.
Well, Soundwave is in the ghost. Jesus, Soundwave is in the audience.
All right. You believe that... I mean, it's a 4. So hold on, let me think about this.
I'm
You
super
believe
bad at this.
this ship was designed for you specifically.
Oh, no.
That's why it feels good to be in it. All right.
Okay.
That is 1 check.
I will roll fix
Wait,
with
1 check for what?
intelligence.
Oh, the programming one. I see.
Yeah, I'll take fix with intelligence.
Or do you want something else instead?
No, I'll take intelligence. That sounds right.
I have a +1 to everything but strength and charisma, so they're all almost the same.
Okay.
Cool.
That is also a
pretty good.
success. So you now are up 2.
Those are shit
Up
rolls.
to.
What did I roll? A 2 and a 5, really? Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, so that leaves us with no trade and work. I have a 0 in no and -1 in the other 2.
Okay.
So Open. Yeah, what is basically Van-Vee's the project manager and engineer in charge on this project, and Quentin would approach him. What can I do to help?
Well, you see, Minerva's got his its little bots doing most of the grunt work, which is nice here. So what we really need, sir, is kind of someone overseeing the project of how the spike drive connects and make sure it's calibrated right. So I guess double checking the calibration that these little bots here do.
All right. That sounds like a no. Or do I do nothing? Is that what we're saying?
Well, if it goes really badly, I can rewind and tell you to stop doing what you're doing. Try it differently.
Don't you double check the work of my bots?
This takes place over a considerable amount of time, but sure, I'll allow it. Even though it only reverses one round, I'll allow it.
That's it. It's worth the gamble. I like 3 successes more than rewinding.
Let's roll it. Yeah, let's do it.
It'd go from to 1. That's fine.
That is a failure.
I guess we're trying that again.
You watch the captain get involved in all of this, and at one point he accidentally vents himself out into the moon. And it's fine. It's fine for him, but then like some of your cabling comes loose as well, and like various things, and the spike drive gets hit in the ventilation process. It gets damaged and then has to be rehoused by Van-Vee.
I feel like
this is in slow motion. He says, "This is gonna take 2 weeks," and then time reverses.
So you're like reaching forward, and you hear Minerva's voice. Van-Vee said not to touch any of the orange buttons. Yeah. Please do not touch the orange buttons.
Van-Vee watches him get ejected, and he's literally just like, I said double check the calculation.
These yellows and orange look a lot alike. So I'll re-roll that again.
This roll could get worse rather than better.
It could get much worse.
But it gets successful. That's 3. Okay, so you go from 3 months to 2 months, 2 months to 1 month, and now you can activate a subsystem of your choice out of navigation or maneuvering thrusters.
The Golden Goose has a tractor beam that we can maneuver out with should we need to. Is navigation more important? I don't know.
Can our tractor beam move this thing? Isn't it like a scalability?
Oh, yes, that's a good question.
It is the same size as the ship you are attempting to move it with, which will not work.
Does the Goose Nest have a tractor beam? It doesn't,
you can throw some chains over this bitch and drag it behind you for sure.
Okay. Ooh, I feel like chains over this would. This is Minerva thing. I feel like Minerva would not like this. You can hold it with
the salvage arm. But I mean, all of these cases are just going to be allowing this thing to drift uselessly in space and make spike trail jumps, which it sounds like you're fine with, but there are consequences.
Minerva would prefer to be able to maneuver the ship.
All right.
I feel like Van-Vee would lay out the options and immediately side with whatever Minerva says. Like, even if she were to joke and say the opposite, he'd be like, yeah, we should do that one. Absolutely. And then you'd switch sides and be like, I mean, yeah, what she said.
So as you're working on the ship, Van-Vee, it's kind of weird. It's almost like the technology that made this ship is so different from the technology you're used to. And you're coming to realize that in Stars Without Numbers, a Churchill tank and a Abrams tank are both considered tech level 3 tanks. In the same way that your technology of the ships you're used to working on is TL4. This particular cruiser was made from a civilization that has TL5 level technology. And the reason it's so different is because everything's been miniaturized. All of the equipment that is damaged, broken, or removed on the ship is smaller than normal. But you do get the pathways that allow energy from the spike drill to penetrate through the ship's outer membrane and be forced out through like Hall thrusters and other various like small electromagnetic maneuvering thrusters. You get all of that working again. And so it is capable of turning and moving at about 10 meters a second. extremely slow maneuvering thrusters.
I think Minerva could be convinced for Zoe's help.
Hey, listen, that ship's already sailed. You've made the rolls. We've locked it in here.
You're unsatisfied with the result.
Yeah, all right, I'll allow it, but just know if she fails, you lose those maneuvering thrusters in the process.
I mean, do you think she's like
trade and work? I don't know
tough.
if she has either of those. I know she is a bioscientist.
I would let it lie.
Iona would have absolutely crushed no, but that ship has unsailed.
I couldn't do the other two either. So
the blacks, they unfurled their big black sails and they got destroyed.
Okay, then where the Hosta's where it is at right now?
It is June 21st.
Wait, can I have a quick conversation?
Has time passed already, or
1 month? Yeah.
Can I have a quick conversation before we fast forward? Minerva. I'm like, while working, I'm trying to like calmly.
While you're on the Hosta?
Yes.
Okay.
So like, and basically anticipating no one else can hear this. Minerva, I'm just wondering, you seem awfully protected, or protective, I should say, of, the ship, which I get, it makes sense, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm impressed, but also scared of the technology I'm working with here. Like, this is unlike anything I've seen before. It's impressive, but you also want to protect it. Yet you're letting me on it. I'm a little concerned. What do you plan to do with it? I mean, everything here is more efficient and smaller than I'd say what I've worked with beforehand, and you had to know that. Yet you let me come on board. How are we going to protect this forever, assuming you still want me in as part of that after you get this up and running?
How do I plan to protect this forever?
Like, how are you going to keep everyone else? You're taking a lot of measures right now, like only letting certain people on board.
Yes.
Working on it. How long are you going to keep that up?
Well, I suppose there's a number of things that could happen. If science progresses to the point to reproduce this technology, it would no longer be advanced.
So, okay, so I gotta keep this a secret now, like forever, pretty much?
I'm trusting you to do so.
Okay, I mean, you can trust me. I guess I wish I had known that going into this a little bit. I mean, I'm always happy to help you, of course, but I feel like I don't know, all the shit we've encountered, whatever the hell just attacked us when we got to this sector. I mean, I don't know if it read my mind. Frankly, I'm a little concerned now that I have information I didn't know I was going to have, and it's a liability to you, and I've seen how you act in those situations.
You know more about the ship than I want people that I don't trust to know. But understand that as you've been working, I've only produced relative schematic information required for the work you're doing. I have limited what you know. And while you do know dangerous information, there is a lot you still don't know.
I feel like you're making my point. You trust me, but you don't fully trust me. So
I trust you. I don't trust the people who can hurt you.
I guess that's fair, but I think we're okay, but I'm a little worried that you see me as a loose end after this is all done.
Well, the fact that you're this far into this project with these concerns tells me that even if you're worried, you do trust me.
I do. That's why I'm here.
I don't want to hurt you. I have no plans to hurt you. You've given me no indication that I'll need to. I trust you. I don't always trust your judgment, but I do believe in your intentions, and that's what I trust. If any of the information you've learned here ends up in hands that I did not approve of, I do believe that that would not happen of your choice.
All right. Well, as long as we acknowledge that possibility exists, because I would never intentionally do that. I mean, my priority, heck, stray so far from here. I want to keep my family safe, get Zach up to speed, but we've encountered a lot of weird shit.
And the captain wants to save his people. There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of concerns that the two of you have, and I appreciate that. Well, it would probably help the both of you to be there doing those things right now. It's not lost on me that you're here right now.
In my opinion, it took us too long to get here, but we ran into a lot of shit. So sorry it took so long, but we're here, and I'll do what I can, and I'll keep my mouth shut.
And I want to help you too.
I appreciate
for being
that.
here.
All right. Well, I'll keep working, I guess. Just I got a little nervous seeing tech I ain't never seen before, and didn't want to be a loose end on your grand plan. That's all.
Speaking of not trusting people that might want to harm you,
Oh boy.
have you thought about what happens if that body dies?
Well, seeing how I've had two very recent experiences in that exact situation, little bit.
I know we're not the same, but there are some similarities. I don't know if you want to explore that.
In what way?
The bodies that I inhabit, I feel like they're me, just as that body is very much you. But if, as you saw when you destroyed the first body that you saw me in, I have the ability to leave it. You're halfway there. You can survive the ordeal, but you can't leave.
At least
maybe
not willingly, no.
Maybe we should explore a way that we can transfer you. Like I do.
I don't even know if that's possible. I'd have to, heck, I don't even know who I'd talk to about that. It feels like something I have to go to, Scarfy for, maybe. The people that knew anything about this were all just arrested. So
you have that device that you can communicate with.
This thing? I pull like a kindergarten toy out of my pocket.
So there is a way to communicate with you, even if you can't leave the shell. So you're not, at the very least, you won't be trapped alone in darkness. I know what that's like.
Well, I was thinking when you first started this, maybe you were trying to think I should get like a backup body, like how you have some backup bodies, but the ability to willingly leave, I honestly don't know if that's possible. Pick a new host, so to speak. I will say the process of figuring out who Vandorn was, and knowing that he had been like a passenger, a read-only passenger this whole time, I can't do that again. I need like, it's got to be some sort of like acceptance. But I don't know if there's a way to replicate what Ferry did without having Ferry.
The interface that you connected to when you met Vandorn, there is a way to interact with that separately. And if there's a way to interact with that, there may be a way to download you or find a medium to download you into.
This is outside my realm of knowing, but I mean, sure, it doesn't hurt to explore it.
Where
do we learn that?
Like, I'm not sure, but I'm willing to explore it with you. I know what it's like to be trapped in the darkness. And since
I
it
bet
can
you do.
happen to you, I don't want that for you.
Well, I didn't like it for the 10 seconds I had it before you rewound time. Well,
I'm willing to explore this with you if you want to.
well, I mean, by all means, you can explore this device as much as you want and see what you can learn from it in terms of interfacing connections. We can test maybe recreating. Now we have a workshop now. We could try to recreate a similar device, see if there's any way to communicate with it. Heck, I don't know the material that's needed to make it, but I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. But you just saw Zach's video. He's got some of that material in a vial. That might help us make something if we ever get to Lita.
That's true. We don't have the means or the materials to recreate that technology, but we can try to find a way to interface with it, maybe find a way to repurpose it.
Sure. Makes sense. I mean, I'm happy to explore. I also wouldn't mind getting my hands on some of the material in the meantime. Well, if it's convenient, I'm not trying to go out of our way. I know it's low priority compared to the other shit we got going on, but I appreciate you bringing this up, though, Minerva. It feels good to know that there could be a backup plan in the works at some point, because some of my recent experiences, it scares the shit out of me to think I could watch the body perish and I could be floating watching you guys and nothing I can do but watch.
I mean, if we can find a way to transfer you, that seems the first step. And even if that's only as far as we make it before that body dies, you'd be welcome to stay here with me until we could get you a body again.
I don't think if he knows how to respond to that. Perhaps, well, that's awfully generous. You know what? Only offer I got at this point, so I'll take it. I guess that sounds good. Appreciate that. You know, I hate to assume anything, overextend myself after what you just did, but my next immediate goal, I think is probably helping Zach get that same sort of backup plan as well, or whatever that may be. But him and I, there's not many others like us left anymore, or at least not in Scarfy. So he's my brother, and I got to look out for him as well. Implied question of, would you offer the same to him?
I understand. Maybe when your family situation is more under control, I can spend some time with Zach. I know you intended for him to serve on the crew.
That I did. But it seems like we keep finding other medics that are far better than whatever he could do.
He's young. And I would like to get to know him.
Well, not to be too corny, but you know me, you know him. There really ain't that much of a difference between us y'alls.
Well, I met your father. I disagree.
Ooh, I feel like that gives Van-Vee pause. It's like, oh shit, are we different?
Somewhere out there, a really slowed down, nostalgic, ghostly version of Secret Agent Man plays in the background.
Yes.
Fantastic. You're still going?
Okay, I think I'll just go right back to tinkering. He's got a lot to think about.
Cool. During the month of repair, Quentin would like to have a conversation with MINERVA first. Specifically, he'd approach her about Zoe and once again ask if MINERVA would be willing to at least reveal themselves to her. Yeah, I guess start that conversation. I just think, look, with the Order of the Golden Goose, what I'm trying to accomplish with the Psionic Academy, it all comes together, and I think she needs to know you. You asked me once about my family, and I think you're curious about family. Minerva, I look at you as family at this point. Like, Zoe's what I got left. You know, I want you to know each other. I trust her unequivocally. She works with an AI herself. Context, like, that's an introduction you might want. I think Context is someone that could be interesting for you to talk to. She seems like the most academic AI in the sector at the very least. I think there's a lot to gain from it on top of just, I don't want to lie to her. I don't, even if it's by omission.
I understand. I think I want to try it.
Willing?
I know that my obligations to be secret, not just for myself, were ended. So it is just my choice. And I know that you're concerned about my continued help for your people if something happens to you. And something will happen to you. I hope it's a long time from now.
You and me both. But I'm
I
as
know
fragile as most of us.
I know. And I can see the dedication you have to her. And watching and listening to her, she's dedicated to her own ideals. I'm afraid, but if I'm going to be whole like this, I am going to meet other people. Why not start with somebody that my companion trusts?
Thank you for putting that trust in me, in my, my estimation on this. Thank you. It's now a good time. Send some messages.
I guess.
All right. And Quentin has previously mentioned to Zoe that he wants to spend some time like hashing things out and figuring out the Psionic Academy, what the game plan's going to be when she gets there, et cetera, et cetera. And kind of sets up that meeting and says he's got another introduction he'd like to make. Invites her to like a common room somewhere on the Goose Nest.
Okay. So she arrives with Iona, but Iona is just walking and talking with her. And, Iona keeps going as Zoe enters the room.
Quentin gives her a wave. And... Zoe, hey. So Quentin pulls out his tablet and flashes a bunch of paperwork and things that he's been working on. We got a bunch of stuff I'd like to talk to you about, official like, but
she moves over to just stand next to you and look over your shoulder at the tablet.
Well, I should take a seat here and I'll put it up on a bigger screen or something.
Okay.
And the other thing, like I said, I wanted to introduce you more officially to someone. So question for Minerva. Would Minerva have one of the chassis in the room or be relying on like a holographic presentation, or what would be Minerva's preferred sort of way of
I think Minerva,
a new person meeting her?
I think Minerva would want to use a hologram. It's more personal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Instead of, hey, talk to this giant metal gorilla.
Yeah. I think that's completely fair. So Quentin would sort of wave his hand and say, well, meet Minerva.
Right. I'm going to take a really long shot here and say Minerva's probably an AI you've been hiding.
Look, no one ever said you were dumb.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have a ship that has an unusually high number of electronics on it, specifically refitted to fit an AI, attached to a second ship with the same programming. that is currently salvaging what appears to be a Imago Dei ship. So it seems like every ship that you're in specifically has the sort of things you need to keep a VI or an AI, and you're salvaging a ancient AI ship. So yeah,
You are definitely observant. That is for sure.
Minerva will appear as a hologram and say, salvaging me. Maybe. It's nice to meet you.
Are you a new member of the crew?
I've been a member of the crew since he found me, I guess.
And are you related to the young woman who died on board?
I am the young woman that died on board.
Okay. So you've been around for a while.
I have.
So, you know, I guess this may go without saying, but obviously we are still keeping this as under wraps as reasonably possible. Obviously, you're quite observant and put two and two together relatively
It's been
quickly.
a whole month and I haven't had anything to do.
That's fair. That's fair. So
I hope you're not offended.
You're here telling me about it, so not offended. It does feel like everyone else was keeping something from me.
fair, you know.
But I guess
we
it's
do our
your
best.
secret, and I can understand why you might be worried. AIs can be viewed in the same way as psionics, especially now.
Glad you understand. Yeah, Minerva and I have definitely had a natural rapport, at least from some of that perspective. Minerva was a key reason that we've looked to found the Order of the Golden Goose.
What do you do exactly, Minerva? If you don't mind me asking, what's your purpose?
Existentially or on the ship?
I think existentially. My understanding of AI is pretty limited, given where I'm from, but I think you all have something you want to do.
At my core, I am a ship.
Okay. Well, that's straightforward.
It's
I'll tell you, Zoe. Go ahead.
it's what I've always done. It's what I've always wanted to do. What I do as a ship is my own decision at any time, but at my core, I will always be comfortable as a ship. And Quentin has asked, and I have started to help with the tragedy that's happened to your people. I want to help your people.
Sure. Forgive me. Again, I'm not particularly technologically savvy. I'm sure there's a lot you can do, but what exactly do you propose to do with a stripped-down warship that has no weapons or armor and only the basic navigation without a sensor package? This extremely small cargo bay. Also, based on my discussion with the Ono, you can't even get to Lita in your ship.
Not yet.
Somebody has Starfare. I don't know.
But I hope to restore it. I hope to restore myself.
Well, now,
when I can.
hold on. You told me that you want to be a ship, but you're not that ship, right? You don't need to restore yourself. You are you. You exist independent of it.
I do.
Right. In the same way that psionicists exist independent of their bodies.
That's something I don't know about.
I mean, she turns
psionics.
toward Quentin and says, sorry, I meant real psionicists.
What is she? Would Quentin know what she means by that?
She's talking about biopsionicists. They can come back from death.
Right. Okay.
Strong ones.
You don't need to throw
strong
shade right now.
Psionicists can come back from death.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. You are energy. We are energy. All of us. Metapsionic. Otherwise, what is consciousness? It is patterns and static, so to speak.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Minerva, and I hope things work out well for you. I'm not exactly sure what you can do to help Lita, but I definitely appreciate the sentiment, and I'm looking forward to working more closely with you. Will you be basing... I don't think a ship your size can land on the planet. Will you be basing an orbit or something? Are you transport now, or...
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
We're going to figure it out logistically, you know. There's a lot to hash out in terms of what we can do. We've got resources in front of us. We've got the cruiser we're sitting on, and we got the cruiser we're planning on getting up and running. There's definitely going to be some follow-up work to make that happen, but look, what I do know is that Lita needs protection in the short term. One of these things can provide that in some way, shape, or form. So that's stage one of the usage of a cruiser in my mind right now. Stage two, we got to get back to Lita, of course, and do what we can do there to start setting up something official to make things actually long-term, salvage a new psionic academy out of this whole ordeal. But yeah, these cruisers are a big part of us being able to do that, because we're going to need resources, we're going to need curriculum, all sorts of stuff. The former psionic academy housed at the Mandate Naval Base that we have the coordinates of is our next target. And the goal is to use one of these ships to get in there as safely as possible, because again, that is a military installation. We are going to need some security. So Lita needs it. We need it.
Sorry, why do we need a Mandate Naval Base?
We don't need a Mandate Naval Base. We need the Psionic Academy and the information contained within.
This is the one you've been chasing.
Yes. And I know where it is.
Well, I have to tell you, we could use whatever resources we can get, but there's a very real Psionic Academy we know the location of that does need you right now.
I agree. We are going to rebuild it. All right. It's going to take steps. It's going to take effort from more than just me. All right. And Quentin throws up his org chart. He's been working, talking through sort of what his plans are.
I've noticed this org chart involves Zoe's name on almost every executive position.
Yeah, and it's on there, and he's pointing it, and he's waiting to see what she says or looks at as it's.
I mean, she
this
takes
is obviously
her name
interim
and flips you and her so that you're the vice chancellor for Psionic Academic Affairs, and she's the chancellor. And then she removes her name from all of the other positions.
Zoe. That's fair.
Someone has to stay on planet and run things. Okay? I appreciate that you are a powerful psionic and you were a teacher there. Honestly, I'm a better psionic than you, and I'm actually going to stay on planet.
Ooh, that is incredibly debatable. I feel like
I get it. You're a meta-psionicist, and you know what? We could use your skills. But since parking your ass in a chair on a cruiser seems to be what you want to do, rather than walking through the fields of your homeland, I don't know that you're going to come back from this Mandate Naval Base Psionic Academy. What do I do if you die and I don't learn about it for years? I don't learn about it ever. What do I do then with the government that you've written up that you're the head of when you aren't there?
What do you do with it? Yeah, that's why I'm leaving you in charge. And look, just so we're clear, I threw some names on here to make you laugh and probably to get this rise out of you, because, that's part of the fun that I get in this
Dr.
little
Fish?
moment. Oh, Dr. Fish is someone that I think you are going to enjoy immensely. She has a relatively negative opinion of me and this crew right now, but she is an incredibly good and effective person. She would be massively valuable to you.
I mean, can I ask why she has a negative opinion of my brother and why I should trust her if she does?
I wouldn't say she has an explicitly negative opinion of me, but she definitely has a negative opinion of some actions I've taken.
Sure. And those are,
what did I do? I explicitly made sure that the man explicitly and directly responsible for the atrocity against our people made it into a unmarked grave that nobody's ever going to find, and he's going to be forgotten.
My understanding is that this is the first time Zoe has heard about this. So listen, the AI thing, she's got to process on her own. This is new news. And she just kind of loses focus at that. Hearing that the person who did it is dead and that you murdered them in front of, you know, at least one person who now doesn't like you as a result of doing that. I mean, you just admitted that you were a murderer to your sister. Your older, much cooler sister.
Again, I'm not going to lie to her.
Okay. I mean, this is a big deal for her. After a few moments, she stands up and puts one hand on the back of her chair and just says that's a lot to unpack. Everything that's happened so far is a lot, but that's a lot.
I won't claim that I was in the right headspace, and won't claim to feel sad that he's dead.
Minerva, it was nice to meet you. If you'll excuse me, I think I need to be by myself for a little while.
It was a pleasure to meet you too.
She turns and leaves without looking at you, Quentin.
The hologram is just sort of like looking around a little bit. It's very obviously super awkward, and I'm like emoting that with the hologram.
Quentin lets that awkwardness and silence linger for a good bit. Like and then he looks up and makes eye contact with the hologram and says, "That's family."
My question is Minerva splitting her core? And whether or not that's true, where is the core? Sorry, I need to say it Lord of the Rings style. Where is the ring?
So Minerva would need to ask for help splitting the core.
Yeah, because you need a physical body to do it.
So Van-Vee, you would get a text message asking to meet in the drive room of the Hosta.
All right. Be right there. Voice to text.
I mean, any message you send to Minerva is automatically voice to text, but all right.
She hears everything anyways, so he'll get there as soon as he can, right away.
So the box will be there with the core in it.
Wasn't expecting physical presence, but all right. What do you need? How can I help?
I need your help with something. And I know that you don't know much about the nature of my existence. So I need to explain something to you before I can ask you to do something that you have no idea how to do.
Okay.
So I'll open up the box and reveal the core.
Well, that looks important.
This is me.
This little thing? This guy right here? Well,
This is my dust. This is where I exist.
I think when you put it like that, like he stops joking because he thinks, well, I wouldn't like if someone joked like that to me. So he's like, all right.
So you understand what this is to me.
I do. What do you need me to do with you?
I need you to perform a procedure on me.
Why can't you get one of your other guys to do it?
Because I need to be disconnected.
Oh shit. All right. Okay.
I'll be in the darkness and I won't be able to see what you're doing. So you understand how important this is.
I got you. No worries. I got you. Just tell me what needs to be done. I'll make sure that it happens.
I'm going to explain the procedure. Please ask any question that you can conceive of. I won't be able to answer them when I'm disconnected. And she'll explain the procedure of how to cut a chunk off of it.
A good 40%.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Van-Vee would initially give the, yeah, I got it. And then we're like, all right, so you're ready to go? He'd be like, well, okay, hold on. And then he'd ask a question. Then another, he'd ask like 5 or 6 questions. Gives that first overconfidence of, yeah, no big deal. And then he'd ask all the questions where he's nervous until he is confident.
Remember how the body that I was in attacked you?
Yeah, that's kind of hard to forget.
The reason that I was able to leave that body and not be trapped in there during that experience was because of the procedure you're going to do.
So are we opening up risk here?
You're helping me mitigate a risk that I've been taking and telling nobody. Right now, if this is destroyed, I'm gone.
Oh shit, we don't want that.
If the primary section is destroyed, regardless of distance, I'm not exactly sure how it works. My consciousness and my memories will move to the piece that you have cut off. You can consider it a protection of death. We call it a phylactery.
As a lich, I understand this. No. I think I would triple ask which chunk you want where when the procedure's done.
Like, place the larger piece back inside this body, and I will reconnect.
A smaller piece, or are you going to take care of that when you reconnect?
I am going to move the smaller piece when I've reconnected.
So internally, Van-Vee's like, all right, still not there at 100% trust, but this is a big step. All right. I mean, that makes sense. Where then out loud, where do you want me to put it? Like, does it need to be on anything special?
You can leave it on the workbench, the smaller piece.
All right. And then I'll wait for you to reconnect with your current situation, and I'll leave the room to let you do what you need to do.
Yes.
Figured as much. All right. Well, I think I got it.
Okay.
Van-Vee, the procedure is so simple, despite all of the prep. You use a butcher's knife to slice 10 cubic centimeters off the box and split it into a 12 cubic centimeter and 10 cubic centimeter. It's basically like a hexagonal orb that's quite small, and you just chop it really precisely so that there's a 60-40 split, more or less.
I don't know why, But even when you said butcher's knife, I was picturing someone cutting up fudge and just taking the brick of fudge and giving like 60% here, 40% here. I don't know why. That's where my brain went. And I'm like, all right, so just cut fudge. Done.
That's where it's at, guys. It's the fudge.
Minerva and that fudgy core.
There you go. Oh, Jesus.
So I'm just going to need you to make a knife roll to knife this.
Does it have to be stab?
Yeah, no mistakes. No regrets.
Why did I put everything into punch? So stupid.
I think you've only
Minerva,
thrown one punch.
As you get placed back into the box,
Please don't tell me I fucked this up.
you become aware that you are an exact 50-50 split.
I'm not sure what that does.
It doesn't seem to have done anything so far.
Oh no.
All these GM answers.
I don't tell him that it's bad. She just like powers up the armature and reconnects to things and says, "Thank you for the help."
Oh, I already left the room, remember? I wasn't going to be there.
Oh, okay.
I assume I did a great fucking job.
I am going to I'm going to put the backup core in. It's going to be hidden on the hosta.
Sure. And you're attaching it to the hosta and turning the hosta on?
I'm attaching myself to the hosta and I'm turning it on.
Okay.
I had to
You
know.
just needed to like...
I had to know.
You just needed to karate chop the core. That's the answer.
Yeah, that's not going to work. You know how when you're testing to see which eye dominant you are, and that focus and weirdness as you get it locked into place?
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens to you as your core is active in two places at once. And you come to realize that you're now neither eye dominant. You're having trouble keeping separation because you keep slipping between both halves. You don't have a primary half anymore.
Ruh-roh.
It's not going to interrupt your processes. Everything still works smoothly, more or less. It just may be disorienting on a regular basis.
Okay.
I know what I'm investing points in when I level.
Minerva has vertigo.
Oh, that's not relevant to this. Okay. Yeah.
Just wanted to say, by the way, fuck you, McClay. We did it. We salvaged a ship today. We reverse salvaged a ship as we watched the hosta slowly begin to touch off its drives. And ever so slowly, it unrises into the black hole. You see the moon turning ever so, or sorry, the black hole's tidally locked. The moon is tidally locked. So as you rise, you see the black hole begin to slowly rise over the horizon as the hosta takes its place in orbit of the moon next to the Goose's Nest.
You see Van-Vee flip off the black hole saying, fuck that guy. And then he yells, Minerva, I need thrusters.
As you are rising, a trail of moon dust is knocked off all around you as the ship, it doesn't look new, but it certainly looks fresher now that it's no longer covered in the detritus of things on their way to the complete collapse and spaghettification that could take hundreds or thousands of years as it slowly gets sucked into the black hole. And the Hosta class cruiser Minerva is flying again once more. It feels right for your core to be plugged into the ship. I would say that it's just ever so slightly uncomfortable in the way that every ship that you've been plugged into so far hasn't been perfect for you. This one feels like at one point it was, but you've kind of outgrown it a little bit. It's just a little bit too small. It's like going back to your childhood home and being like, I don't remember this chair being that small.
Your feet stick off the bed a little bit.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but it still feels right. This is home. The MINERVA. And that's where we're going to end the episode, is the 2 ships, because y'all need to figure out a plan to take these ships somewhere. And, you know, my man MFH didn't know that he was going to be waiting a whole month for you to finish your mission. No one told him that.
I demand payment.
Completely shut down commerce in the system for an entire month.
I know. It's amazing. We have some friends.
Let's talk about experience points. I'll give you 1 for hash out Psionic Academy structure.
No.
I'll give you 1 for working towards meeting with Zach. I'll give you 1 for Spike to the Hosta, and that one's done forever now. And everyone gets 1 for Get to the Hosto, which is also done forever now. And I think you would really have to sell me on your long-term goals.
Yeah.
So 2 experience points all around.
Seems legit. Ooh, I get to roll my health.
Who remembers what page advancements are? Oh, never mind. 56. There we go.
Yes. Roll my health.
Jesus Christ. What is that? Why? Jesus. The formula's never been spelled out like that.
Yeah.
Weird. What is character low? 93 is the next one, huh?
Everybody gets to be a busy bee and try to fix the ship while inside the ship.
There's a little like D20 next to the health HP you can roll.
I mean, there's only so much you can do without a dock to get materials onto the ship. Like, you know.
Tractor beam throw.
Telekinesis, Kyle.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
you're working with nothing, essentially. Everything on the ship is ruined. It needs new parts.
Yeah, no, I fully understand. So that is going to be sort of like stage 1 of the next episode, is Quentin requesting Van-Vee and MINERVA to give him essentially a shopping list. And Quentin's going to do his best to see what we can finagle with our various
Just to be clear,
contacts.
You cannot fit all of the old if you saw the version of the house that they pointed, point out it has like a 33% overage. Unless you could get mandate era parts that would fit this ship, which was specifically designed, custom designed by the Imago Dei, modern parts will have to be put in. It's not as fat. It's like if you took a clan machine from in the Battletech universe, and then we're like, you can only use an inner sphere engine in it, so now it's slower and it dissipates less heat. So you're gonna have to remove weapon rate. You're gonna have to add more heat sinks, all that stuff. Unless, of course, you somehow find some sort of miraculous cache of, or like a second ship that was exactly like it in every way.
Oh, the Hell Memory Core. Yeah.
This ship already was the Hell Memory Core. This ship already was the Hell. That was the whole opening plot line, was that MINERVA's ship, the Golden Hind class cruisers, are the Hell Memory Core.
When you were describing the miniaturized everything, I was like, fucking double heat sinks, man.
Yeah. That's the exact reference I was going for, because the Hostas from first edition are way better than any ship in second edition. The Hostas from first edition could easily fight a carrier or a battleship. Yeah. Easy mode.
Well,
they're too fast and they're too heavily armored for their size.
Well, the size is supposed to be variable, right? Like based off technology. Like
right.
So as a cruiser class ship, it has the same speed as like a combat frigate.
Yes.
And it has
nuts.
But the MINERVA was the Hosta class is supposed to be speed 2, but a cruiser in current technology is only speed 1.
Right.
It was in its heyday. It was fast as hell. It was over armored, and it still carried a full complement of weapons because it got special created. It also cost 72 million credits, so it costs about half that now. But you can't fit everything on board.
Yeah.
Van-Vee, where are these rolls for your health? I thought you were leveling up.
I don't remember how to do this, so I'm rereading.
Just manually roll it.
Paragraph. I am. That's what I'm rereading.
Jeez Louise.
So I'm like part warrior. I have a constitution score. It's a lot of shit I have to add.
This is what happens when you min-max. Could have just picked a regular ass class like everyone else.
There's only 4 classes. I picked one out.
Yeah, the class that specifically allowed you to be 2 or more classes at once.
That's true.
Look, this is new MINERVA. There are 3 classes.
2 hit
There's
points
Rogue,
each time
Wizard, and Rogue Wizard.
Right, so
and Rogue Wizard is better than both Wizard and Rogue. 62? That doesn't sound very high.
I went up.
Did it? Interesting. I'd have to hit you with several missiles now to kill you.
You rushed me. I didn't finish reading. I just hit enter.
With the pile of bonus hit points I get for being in the gorilla, I have 52 hit points.
I love that Van-Vee's more durable than a massive robot.
I mean, the 9 is my constitution. The 18 is being partial warrior.
He's got those heroic reflexes, so he could just dodge out of the way. He's just so lucky.
Look at those rolls, though. Besides the 2 1s, they're all 4 5s or 6s. That's pretty good.
Van-Vee always shoots first.
He's never shooting second again. That's for sure. Fucking died.
Flashback of Van-Vee killing his father. We did it, McQueen.
Yeah, that kind of. Oh man, that's gonna be a tough conversation with Zach. Might skip that part.
It's going.
You have to be totally honest, like Quentin was with Zoe and making her think he's a murderer.
Your dad committed suicide, right? After stopping a terrorist plot on planet.
Yeah.
I stopped him from committing suicide, you could say.
Yes.
You could argue that.
Well, since you're his clone, you could also argue that you did commit suicide.
That is true.
You killed yourself.
Ooh. So I can just let Zach say yes. Which means I could also tell Zach that he committed suicide.
Yeah, I'm sure not explaining any of this and him discovering it later will have no repercussions on your relationship.
I'm not good at explaining shit. I try to pick characters with low charisma, so I don't have to do this.
You have children. Explain it to your younger brother who's a child the way you would explain it to your kids. Although your kids are pretty young, so I guess don't say I killed our dad.
Yeah, I only asked what age can I introduce Minecraft to on the intro hour. Which I feel like delayed the whole intro hour. You didn't get the first question until like the 40-minute mark because I kept asking random shit in the chat.
That's fine. That's how intro hour works. Don't allow ourselves.
It was the first. The first one I could attend in a long time.
I'm a ship inside another ship with another ship.
don't encourage Soundwave. Don't encourage him.
I don't need to, but I'm going to.
Nonsense.
It's delightful.
We are
one
back.
of those could be replaced with box.
We're back next week on the 15th, right? And then we're off on the 22nd.
Sounds correct.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Sounds good to me. I'm around, so.
I have a lot of travel coming up.
Any post-game chatting you want to do here before I call it an end?
No. We always do that after the recording stops.
Okay. That's true. Audience at home, we got through another episode just for you. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing pieced together so YouTube can watch it tomorrow. Have a good time, Zone. We'll see you again soon.